Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Douglas Library of Hebron Strategic Planning Committee to order. It's Monday, July 11th at 5:33 p.m. First thing on the docket is the secretary's report. They approved the minutes from the 6/13/22 meeting. Everybody had a chance to take a look at those. Any amendments?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 13th as presented.
Great. Thanks, Donna. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Gail, wonderful. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't present.
Okay, sounds good, Peter. Thanks. Okay, so motion passes 3 in favor, 1 abstention. And hi, Emily. Emily looks like she's just coming in.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Okay, so we just approved the minutes. So where we're moving next is we're skipping the mission and vision statement. That's on the agenda for the trustees tonight. I guess everybody here knows that. So if we can't do anything with that until they make their decision. So we're just trying to get through the rest of the strategic plan tonight to see if we can come up with a draft. So last month we got as far as the history section. So we got through that, although we were kind of rushed a little bit at the end. So if there are any other comments on that, we can go back to it. So why don't we just take this section by section? We can go through it, make some changes, and I think we should be able to get through it in the hour. So let me just share my screen. Were there any comments more on the Douglas Library of Hebron yesterday in today's section over last month? Anything new? Otherwise, I'll just move past it. All right, well, sensing none, we'll move forward. Mission statement and vision statement are just what they are. There's no real editing to do there. So the vision statement just has the potential edits kept in there. We'll switch it to whichever one it needs to be. So then is Library Board of Trustees. Douglas Library Board of Trustees is a governing board that has legal and fiduciary authority and responsibility for the library. The trustees are a volunteer group of 9 members appointed by the Board of Selectmen. The library director reports to the board. The board works with the library director to create policy, manage the library budget, and oversee strategic initiatives to improve services for the town of Hebron. The Board of Trustees is ultimately responsible for adopting and enacting the strategic plan. And then we have a list of everybody that's on there right now. So I think I'd like to put
In that paragraph, I would just capitalize the T in town of Hebron.
Yep.
And for that matter, the first line, Douglas Library, BOT, shouldn't the O be capitalized also?
Could be. It's, because it's of, I sometimes
Yeah.
like it's smaller. Whatever, we can do
I
it.
guess I'm so used to seeing it capitalized all the time, but anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
That's fine. I'm going to do a find and replace if we can.
I notice I always capitalize it for the Board of Selectmen for BOS.
Yeah, you do.
Just always have, but the Board of Education does the B lowercase o, which I
Oh,
think
the
is
next time I get my
interesting.
packet, I'll have to look.
Yeah, I think they're both correct. But
I think to the I, capitalizing all 3 letters looks better,
yes.
just
yeah,
in case that matters for anything.
It does.
Yeah. To me, the capital O makes me think it's an important word and it's not just a, you know.
It is.
I was just going to
know.
say that. It is an important word.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Uh, You know what, I'm not gonna do this now, but I will, that'll just be a note.
Yep.
Change.
Yeah, it does look better.
Okay, and yeah, so through 2022 after, so we don't have to worry about people that were there earlier or whatever. It'll just be, this is the board that approves the plan.
Mhm.
Oh, and Gail, you've got a middle initial. Do you want that in there?
Yes, I do not answer without the middle initial.
Fair enough. Oh, well, I
So
thought your
then we'll
name
need
is
to
Emily right
add
now.
it down below. We're
Yeah,
going to add it to the next section.
I went to change Emily's name and I changed yours again, Gail.
Thank you.
Okay, Strategic Planning Committee. The SPC was formed by the BOT in February 2021 for the purpose of updating the library's 5-year plan. The committee is made up of individuals from the BOT, Douglas Library Association, and Friends of the Douglas Library, as well as public library users, library staff members, and representatives from the town manager's office.
So I think the and before Friends of the Library, that and can come out.
Yeah, it's
Right,
like two
'cause
groups
we're
of
listing-
3. So it is like a separate group, kind of, but it doesn't need to be. That could be clearer.
As
So
well
it's
as
made up from
public.
individuals from BOT, Douglas Library Association, Friends of the Library, and then I can just do public library users, library staff members. There we go. That's clear.
And then town manager's office, the O should be capitalized. And do
Yep.
we want to say and representatives or and a representative from the town manager's office?
Back in there. Okay. Looks good to me. Any other comments? So moving down to timeline.
Mhm.
February 2021, committee formed by DLOH BOT. July 2021, SBC's first meeting. Partner. We'll probably want to capitalize the F in public forum.
Gail, can you refresh my memory if the Board of Selectmen accepted the strategic plan last time, or did they accept it and approve it?
Oh, two different things. Hmm.
Right. I know the Board of Trustees approves it, but and we can look, I just off the top of my head cannot remember if the selectmen approved it.
I don't remember approving. I remember them accepting.
Accepting.
Yeah, but I don't remember that there was a vote to
So
approve it.
maybe we can add that, Kevin, to fall 2022 approved strategic plan presented to the Board of Selectmen for acceptance or action.
Or Board
For
of Selectmen accepts approved strategic plan.
Well, that's what
Something
Donna
like
was
that.
asking. Did they just accept it or did they approve it? And
Why don't we just add action, and then we can
Or take
determine
action.
that later,
determine
but
what that is.
because I can see the rationale behind them not approving it, just accepting it. Because it's a Board of Trustees, which is a governing board, and therefore the Board of
Right.
Trustees is in charge of that. It's in their purview.
Yeah, all this is going to be fluid until the events actually take place.
Yep.
Board of Selectmen takes action. We don't have something here. I'm just going to put August for now.
Well, I think it's fall.
I'm putting, because we don't have that the Board of Trustees approves the plan. That's just something that should happen.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Yeah, at that.
Yeah.
At that meeting, okay.
I get messed up with all my capitals.
So we're gonna present the draft to the Board of Trustees in August, right?
Assuming that we're good with it tonight, that would be my thought.
Right. So
And
we're
assuming that there's
yeah.
a meeting in August, which there probably will be.
okay. All right. The last time we did that, we did a PowerPoint to present to
Mhm.
the Board of Trustees. So if we are planning to do the presentation in August, we're going to have to probably hold a special meeting between now and then so that we
Right.
can work on, I mean, I'm sure you'll work on the PowerPoint, we can help you, but the committee will need to see that PowerPoint and before it's presented to the Board of Trustees.
Yeah, and we'll have to do it kind of sooner rather than later because I'm on vacation.
Right,
Kind of that part of the last chunk of July and that first week of August.
right.
Okay, so moving on to methodology. Structure. The SPC entered this process with the intention of using the same structure as the previous strategic plan. It organized its goals under 5 categories: safe space, technology, diversity, community, and lifelong learning. As the committee began to write new goals, it was discovered that those categories needed to be refined and broadened. The committee took a close look at the library's institutional values and developed 4 overarching goals for the new strategic plan. And then here are our goals. These goals are shortened to welcoming, integral, safe, and evolving, and further abbreviated as WISE. The committee was able to use these large goals to create specific, measurable sub-goals based on feedback gathered from the public.
sounds good.
Just gonna capitalize those and capitalize the committee. Okay, data collection. To ensure that the goals of the library line up with the needs and desires of the community, the SBC gathered data from various stakeholders before developing goals for the strategic plan. Data was collected through 2 surveys, one for patrons and potential library users, and one for community partners in fall 2021, and a public forum conducted in winter 2022. These feedback opportunities were advertised with posters and social media posts by the library, town hall, and other town departments. Additionally, a press release. The press release was published in the River East Bulletin in advance of each event. I guess it should be press.
If we're gonna say River East Bulletin, it's River East News Bulletin.
Bulletin, I thought that was.
Yeah.
News.
Yeah,
I'm thinking the first line, did the goals align with the needs and desires of the community or line up with the needs and desires?
I like a line better.
Align.
I like that better.
Responses for the surveys were gathered during September 2021 and presented to the SPC at their October meeting. The committee received 177 responses from the public survey and 11 from the community partners survey. Copies of the surveys and a summary of the responses can be found in appendices 1 through 4. The public forum was held via Zoom in February 2022. There were 10 attendees and the discussion lasted approximately 90 minutes. Responses were presented to the SBC at their March 2022 meeting. At this point, the committee opted to forego holding additional forums and begin work on the writing of the plan. A summary of data collected in the public forum can be found in Appendix 5. What do you think? Still looking or good to move on?
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
looking good.
Good. Yep.
Would that be October 2021 that you just put in?
Yeah, Emily, it would be. That's how
Good
I get.
catch.
That's how I get all the mistakes, and I put them in after we proofread. Okay, under goals. Using the gathered data, the SPC began a process of creating specific measurable goals to address the concerns of survey and public forum participants. Each objective was then organized underneath the overarching category, welcoming, integral, safe, and evolving, that best embodied its spirit. The committee then ranked the goals for importance and difficulty in order to ensure that the items that made the final list would be achievable and accurately prioritized.
Nice.
Just going to capitalize these since I did it in the other one. Okay, and then suggested workflow. The SBC has drafted a suggested plan of action and timetable for executing overarching and individual goals contained in the plan. The committee suggests that the Board of Trustees form subcommittees made up of members of the Board of Trustees and library staff, as well as members of the community and other town departments if appropriate to address each overarching goal. These subcommittees would be charged with monitoring progress, working with library administration, steering resources, and reporting back to the board during each regular Board of Trustees meeting. Additionally, the board may create a holistic view community to monitor and keep track of the work of the other 4 committees, adjust committee assignments as necessary, and make decisions about allocating board resources. This committee would prepare an annual State of the Strategic Plan report to share with the BOT and begin the process of forming the next strategic plan committee when that time comes. And AIM committee.
Yeah.
Now, this holistic view committee, is
Yes.
that comprised of members of the board? Is it a subcommittee of the board, or are there out members of that holistic view committee that are not, that may not be board members? Do we
I
need
think
to
it-
define who that committee would be?
I viewed it as members of the board.
So then we should probably call it a subcommittee of the Board of Trustees, so that it's perfectly clear what the intent is.
No, but I agree with Kevin. It should be a subcommittee of the Board of Trustees. So as Donna says, we need to define our terms.
The board may create a subcommittee. Well, let me just say subcommittee to I can just get rid of this whole holistic word. A subcommittee to monitor and keep track of the work of the other 4 committees. Adjust committee assignments as necessary and make decisions about allocating board resources. But this.
I don't mind the term, the holistic view term. I think that's probably not a bad term to keep in there. We just need to make sure that it's, that the composition of that is defined, which
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
we've done. Yeah.
So I put it in the second sentence. So this holistic view committee to prepare an annual State of the Strategic Plan report.
Good.
And this strategic planning committee remains uncapitalized because it's not specific. One of those grammar rules that always catches me. Okay. Okay, so that's the bulk of it, honestly, because this, when we get to this point, we've looked at all these. We went through all of this. There's just a list of the goals, a list of the plan of action. So I think there's just a little thing at the end. Okay, so then self-evaluation and the next strategic plan. These goals are but a guide for a future at which the SBC is only able to guess. It is ultimately the responsibility of the Board of Trustees and Library Director to adjust this plan as necessary over the next 5 years. It is suggested that the board examine the holistic status of the plan on an annual basis to adjust committee assignments and fund allocations, and that work on the 2028 plan began in late 2026. Thank you for the time to read, for taking the time to read through this document.
Wait a minute.
Together we can create the library that Hebron truly deserves.
Can we change board to BOT for consistency's sake?
Sure,
Yes.
probably a couple other places I can do that.
Can we look at that very last sentence and maybe
Oh,
reword it?
something slightly better.
Yeah. Yeah. That sentence is
I
bothering me.
think that, yeah, we already have, I think we already have a library. We have a great library. I think we can only improve upon it, but this, the way this sentence reads to me, it makes it sound like we're lacking. And I don't.
Yeah, I
think we
agree. I didn't like the way it sounded when it said it out loud. Together, we can
continue to improve the library services offered to the Hebron community. Enhance or improve, I don't know.
I like the word enhance, Donna, instead of improve.
Yeah, I do too.
It doesn't have that same, oh, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Well, we could do enhance and improve.
I could go with that.
Taylor,
Um,
right, because you don't, well, I guess, yeah, continue to enhance library services offered to the Hebron community.
Because I think we're there. I think we can only get better. I don't think there's really anything
Yeah, I think we're doing,
that any area that we're lacking.
yeah.
no,
Can I change library services to information services?
I had a thought on the last sentence.
Yep.
Instead of read through the document, did you review the document? Is that a better word? Or digest the document? I mean, if you took the time to read it, let's hope you reviewed it. Let's hope you studied it. Let's
Yeah.
hope you got something out of it.
review goes well there, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of this could honestly be kind of like pushed back into the section before all the goals. Because I was writing and I wasn't sure if it felt too redundant, but it's short, so I don't think it's parts.
Yeah, it's a good summary.
Get rid of but up here. So these goals are a guide for a future. Okay. Happy with that. And then I didn't put together any of the appendices. We sort of have, it'll be the documents that have been a part of your packet going along. I might just make them a little bit neater if need be, but I didn't include them here.
I think there's a lot of good work here.
Yeah. Okay.
There's definitely a lot of good hard work there.
Kevin, I won't ask you how many hours you've put into this.
You.
A few, huh? Okay.
We thought we'd do this in 4 months or something, right? And I say that, but there's still miles to go before we sleep. Yeah, unless there's any other thoughts, I suppose we can just approve the draft and maybe we can make if we want to stay on for a few more minutes and just talk about how we'd like to present it. We can do that too, make another agenda item.
Well, I will certainly be happy to make a motion to approve the draft as presented with a couple of minor changes.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. I would do that.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
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 I
Any opposed or abstentions? No. Great.
Good
Okay.
job.
Motion passes. Great. Just hold on just one sec. Did you?
Electrical breakers.
Oh, the electrical breakers?
Yes.
Is everything okay?
All the workmen downstairs needed something flipped off.
Back room of the friends area, kind of by where the elevator room is.
Okay. It's in the friend's room.
In the friends
I
room.
can look around on the wall.
Okay. I'll if you don't find it in 10 minutes, I'll be done. Okay, great. So I will get this on the agenda for the next Board of Trustees meeting.
Why don't you make it the only item on the next Board of Trustees meeting?
Okay.
Since it's August.
Right, if something urgent comes along, it can always go under other new business.
Okay, well, that's up to Pat, but I think that she'd be open to that.
Mm-hmm.
I can put together a PowerPoint. I figured I would just build it on top of the one that I showed you guys in January when we switched the format a little bit because I think it's almost halfway there.
Yes.
And then my thought would be, we get this approved. I think we can maybe make it a little bit more, add some images in, make it a little bit flashier. And then that might be the version that we distribute to the public and the board of, and the selectmen as well, when we get to that point. So that's what I see going forward.
And we'll ask then for the Board of Selectmen's approval and acceptance.
Let's see what we did last time.
Okay.
We'll check on that.
Yeah, so I'll
Yep.
check minutes.
We're a governing board. I don't see where we want them to approve it, or I just don't get that they have to have license over it. Even though I'm on the board.
Yeah, unless we were really going rogue and then they could just choose not to accept it and that would be a different thing.
Okay,
I think the only thing that would concern me,
Mhm.
and that's why I want to check, is that,
Yeah,
and I'm kind of just thinking out loud here, but if there was something in the strategic plan that the Board of Trustees approved that was expensive and not something that we are budgeting for, I would think the Board of Selectmen would need to at least ask the Board of Trustees to reconsider it, to reconsider their approval, because the Board of Trustees can't commit the selectmen to fund something that the selectmen haven't funded, right?
I see your point, Donna, and I
So
think if something was in there that was going to cost money, it's not in the budget, the Board of Selectmen we just don't approve it when budget time comes around. Ultimately, when it comes to money, that's the Board of Selectmen. So,
But would we even want it to get that far?
I would prefer not.
yeah, no,
You know what
don't
I
want,
mean? Like,
yeah, we don't
you know,
want to,
so
That's conflict. I don't like that.
the Board of Trustees decides that they're, I don't know, just something crazy is in there that's going to cost, $100,000 that has never been budgeted. Something new it ends up in there. And then the trustees approve it. The Board of Selectmen accept the report as is. And then, in a year or two in the budget, now we see this request for whatever that item was, an addition or, the new teen center. And now the selectmen have to not fund it. Where we could have maybe nipped it in the bud before it even got that far.
I would hope the selectmen
just-
would, be on the same page and approve it, and it would almost be the same thing, accepting versus approving. And, since the approval is more powerful, maybe it'd be nice just to have them approve it. I suppose we don't want the selectmen to be micromanaging
Right.
the library board, but hopefully they kind of see their role and.
I'm going back on my history here, but in the bringing the library from association to municipal, one of the things that I was always very, very concerned about, and Donna was with me every step of the way, was making sure it was a governing board, that you had control over your own library. So I don't want to see, and I'm on the Board of Selectmen, but I don't want to see the Board of Selectmen having certain amount of say over what is done with the Library Board of Trustees. They're in charge, unlike other boards that are there in advisory capacity. The Board
Mhm.
of Trustees is not. So I'm just want to be careful about that word in there. But I agree with Donna. We shouldn't be putting anything in anyway that's going to cost $100,000 without getting that researched and presented. That's separate to me from a strategic plan. So anyway, I'm trying to preserve the purview, items that are under the purview of the Library Board of Trustees. For the next generations coming along.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on the separate, like where the power lies for
Mm,
the plan. My thought is that if the selectmen don't accept it, or if they approve it, it doesn't really give them, it does, just because they approve it, it doesn't mean they have the power or any power over the plan anyway.
exactly. That's the Board of Trustees. You and the Board of Trustees have that power. Now, I have to emphasize when I say anything of that, one of the things that I always was very concerned about when I first got involved with the library was having that cooperation and that, hey, we're all on the same page. It's one town, whether it's the library or senior center, whatever, it's one town. You all have to cooperate for the good of the residents of the town. So I'm not trying to create conflict here. I'm just trying to preserve for an entity that which is its power. Or its purview is probably the better word. So that's my 2 cents worth for the night.
Right, well, I'll comb through old minutes just to see if we have the wording either way, but yeah.
And regardless of what we did then, we could do what we want now.
Yes,
Did you?
exactly.
Thank you, Peter.
Exactly.
Well, if it comes down to that, then we don't have to comb through old minutes. If we just want to say accept, then
I just don't remember there being a vote on it, but as I just said, we can do it as we wish.
Uh,
What we think
I-
is appropriate at this time. That was
I-
then, 5
I
years
think
ago.
they
This is another
probably,
time.
I think they probably voted to accept it. So I think that we can just look back at the selectmen's minutes and see what they did. But I think there definitely was a formal presentation.
Mhm.
Yep.
I
And we'll
agree.
just take a look. Yeah.
And I do recall.
I
a
think we're
formal
in
vote.
really,
You remember that, Peter?
I recall a formal vote, yeah. But I think it was acceptance of the form,
Yeah.
for the form.
Not approval. And
Correct.
there's a difference in those two words.
Oh, yeah, they're spelled differently too.
Yes, thanks, Peter.
okay. Well, since we have so few opportunities to end a meeting early, I might take that opportunity now. I will update this draft. I will send it out to all of you. I'll also send out a poll about when we can do a special meeting, probably next week, where we can talk about the presentation to the trustees, and we'll take it from there.
Good.
I'll
Sounds
also
good.
distribute this to, is it okay if I distribute this to the trustees after I make the changes? It's approved, so I figured they want, the more time with it we give them, the better.
I think it would be, I always hope that a packet that goes out to members will be read beforehand. It makes for a much smoother meeting. I mean, if people know what they're voting on or commenting on, so to me, it's okay. to
It would
send
be
it
a
out
part
to
of the
them.
packet as well. It's kind of, this is, since it's a big thing, it's kind of a preview to let them get it earlier even.
Well, and it may be the only thing on the agenda, so I say we definitely give it to them. Yeah, let them have it as much time as they need to digest it.
Okay, so I'll make the changes. I'll send it to you and I'll send it to the whole board too, so they can get that. All right, then I guess I will, is there A motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Peter got there first. We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
Donna seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, no opposed, no abstentions. We are adjourned at 6:13 PM.
Good job. See you at
Thank
7
you.
o'clock.
See you in 45.